Hey, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Apologize for the mix-up in time, uh, but we're here now. I appreciate everyone who could jump on this morning. And so we'll start off. This is part four. So this is really talking about site planning and uh, I'm gonna go through a couple definitions to start with, just to give us some background, and then from there we'll get into some actual documentation for each of these items, so that you can kind of see some real world uh, knowledge on what we're doing right now. So, for those who do not know, my name is Q Elamine, the president of Scott Crawford Incorporated. Was able to do studying in a lot of different fields, but what I really like is the development portion of the real estate process. I'm not a construction person, but have learned to. That's really where you make and lose some money, and so did go back and get a construction management certificate. I'm waiting for them to send it in the mail, but I'll finish with the coursework. And have worked in everything from flipping houses that were 672 square feet all the way up to multifamily developments, which we're in right now, called the Community Within the Corridor. And then I'm really interested in industrial and modular designs, just for like it's the scalability of it. I don't know if you all are aware of Phoenix Investors, but they're a local group, and they went probably in the last 15 years or so, maybe a little less. Yeah, 15 to 20 years, they went from uh, new in the industrial space to being the country's largest industrial holder. And so it's a different space. And with manufacturing and things moving back to the United States, I think it's just a good space to start to learn and be in. And this is, we're all family here. So stop me, ask questions in any portion of the project, because, we want to make sure it's interactive and it's not just me talking as well. And so when you are looking at a site, the first thing we look at often is the parking requirements. And then you would say, like, why parking? Why would that be one of the first things or the first thing that you look at? The reason being is that often stifles, and then it will also control if you need to acquire more parcels, if you need to uh, expand and go and build in the basement, which is always an engineering feat to do. And so you really want to know where the parking requirements are. And so we're going to step back. How do we get to the parking requirements? Your zoning. So your zoning is going to allow you to find out what are those parking requirements that are needed for your site. Does everybody know how to look up zoning? Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, yay, nay, shout it out, however you want to do it. Uh, Zonings, people know how to look it up. Okay, the jury says yes.
I would say no for some because this is their first uh, site planning workshop.
Okay, all
I do
right,
because I'm with Acre, but yeah, some that's not on here that's not familiar with Acre.
all right. So we'll that's what we'll start with. We'll start with uh, the zoning and looking that up next. So we're just gonna get on some key terms first. All right, flood zone. Anybody bought any land within the flood zone? So when we're looking at land, we've been looking at some land in Texas, and they'll have very nice lakes next to it or rivers. but then you have to make sure that that land isn't going, the water isn't going to impede upon your uh, on your property. Or if it does, how often is it? Is it every 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years? Just so you can be uh, curious to the risk. And then that's also going to tell your insurance is going to be higher if you're in or near a flood zone or floodplain. And then also your lenders may have pushback if you're in those areas. Any so we'll look up the flood zones as well. I usually use the EPA website because that's the easiest. We'll do that. And then using all of this, because we in the technology age, we use GIS. So the county, every county, city is going to have a different system. It's probably backed by a company that's called ArcGIS. It's like the number one municipal a GIS service, but it'll help you to see property lines. It'll help you to find information about the property all through each city or county GIS. And then we'll go through one more, then we'll get into it. Survey. So a survey is very important because one, it tells the boundaries of your property, but then it also tells what's on your property that may impede. So you need it for legal descriptions. If you're breaking off the property, there may be easements. Easements are allowments for other people to utilize your property legally. So some examples of that may be if you are if you have AT&T and T and they have a cell phone tower, they may have an easement to be able to go on your property and fix that cell phone tower. You may have an easement for your next door neighbor to drive through to get to their well, to get to the street. And so those are very important because if they are there, uh, you have to honor those easements. And so it may impede upon what you want to do in your development process. So I'm gonna stop there for a second and then see any questions and then we'll go from there. All right, if no questions, did anybody want to throw out a site to go through this process with? And then we'll also use SketchUp to start to build out some semblance of a design for the property.
I got one. What about the next we're looking at now? 4200 West 25th Avenue and Gary, Indiana.
All right, just so I can make sure that I know the address. You said 4200.
At that block. I can be 40, I want to say 4280 West 25th Avenue.
Can you put it in the chat? Because then make sure I have the exact address correctly. So what I'll do now is I'm gonna go and I'll highly recommend if you don't, use two screens. Uh, so let me share screen again, and that'll allow for us to. And I'm gonna do it all new. So if I make a mistake, just know that you're getting how I do it in real life, and it's not pre-planned. So start with this. So first thing you would do is uh, I usually go to Google, just type in the address 48, and then this is in Gary, Indiana. So let's just take a look at what's there. All right, so Eugene, are we talking about the wooded area right there?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Okay. So everybody can see that we really can't tell where the property lines ends or starts. So we would create another tab and say, let me see, Gary, Indiana property records. And then we go to Lake, I think it's in Lake County. Let's try this one, Lake County. Let's see. Nope, let's do this. Indiana. Yeah, yes. All right, so you see the GIS pulled up, and then we'll go to the parcel viewer. Type in the address. All right, so it says no results found. So let's yes. All right, so if we can't find it that way, uh, you're gonna have to navigate us through and tell us where in proximity do you know where it is? And then what I would do is if I didn't know, okay, we see it's off 94 right here. So if we can find it on the map, then we can find the address. Or we see the railroads. And let me see. Eugene, you might have to help me with with what is okay, it's the wrong address. All right. All right, let's go back to it then. All right, so that makes a lot more sense. Now, if you look at this, one on the right-hand side, it gives you uh, a lot of information that you'll need, such as owner, the address. Sometimes you need the parcel number because they need to run title and look it up by there. It's not in the TIF. So what I would do is I would copy and paste all of this information and then just open up a separate document and paste it just so you have it for later usage. And if we're looking at this parcel and somebody can yell it out, what what's the challenges of this parcel? I think it's very easy to see, but somebody yell it out, please.
Access.
Access. There you go. So if we look at this, we see it's look like it used to be like a railroad. It's a portion of the railroad. So I think you may have access potentially from 45th, but then how do you get in and out of the site? Because once you in, how's there enough area to turn around? And so let's use the measure tool and really measure it to see what's the distance. So it's 106 feet. And then let's see, what's so it's 106 by 1,000 by 1758. So can somebody do a quick calculator and put in the chat what's that area? So you got 106 by 1758. All right, so that's approximately 40. If you divide 186,000 by 45,000, because that's approximately an acre. What we have, like 4 acres of land. So very challenging. Okay, all right. Thanks, Eugene, for not making this an easy one. That was excellent. So now let's see if we can look up Gary, Indiana zoning. So usually, I just want to look up this is only category maps. All right, let's see what zoning it is. Let's open back up so it says property class, commercial vacant land, tax key, TIF. Does anybody see the zoning on here? Is commercial vacant land? Is that one of the zoning codes? Uh, somebody saying something? If not, all right, let's go to the assessors link because it may give us the information here. All right, so if we can't find that out, what we'll do is we'll just assume that we'll need it rezoned. So let's see what we need it rezoned to, because then that would help. So we probably some type of residential. So we click on the residential code, maybe not single family, because we want to do some multifamily here. So two family and multifamily residential. And so for this lot, it's giving us the maximum building coverage is 40% of the lot size. And so can somebody do 40% times the 186,348? That probably gives us, or somebody put in the chat, maybe we'll leave them. And then it says, all right, so that's 74,539. So that means our building cannot be any larger than that. So we limiting ourselves to that number. And then the minimum lot size, we have that, and it's 1,200 per dwelling unit. So then divide the 74,539 divided by 1,200, then that'll give us the maximum amount of units, 62. So 62 units, and Jabril Priori did this because I know, he's much more advanced. So he so we looking at, and then it says minimum lot width 75 feet at the building line. All right, so that means we have to set it back And I don't know, let me look and see if this is, let me see, okay, single family are excluded from this requirement. So if we looking at it, it says residential buildings that are greater than 80 feet in width, yard on each side has to be 20% of building height or 10% of building reverse yard. So we know we can fit this off. Let's just start with we can fit a maximum of 62 units on this lot. And so what I do in this portion is you can sign up for SketchUp. It's I'll put it, I'm putting in the chat. And so when we open up SketchUp, it'll allow us to we'll go to that next. All right, so if we are here and say we're going to build 20 by we can draw on this portion too. We're going to build floor plates of say 20 by 40. That'll give us 800 square feet on one floor. Then if we have 40 going this way, and we need setbacks, and we need turnarounds, then this lot may be very difficult to place place a property on. Let me see how it said for yard on each side has to be 5 feet deep, 16 feet combined, or 20% of lot width, whichever is less. So 20% of the width would be 100, would be 20, and then 16 feet combined or greater than 5 feet deep. So let's go with the 16 in the middle ground. So then we have 16 feet for the side, and the rear yard has to be 2/3 of the building height, but no less than 30 feet. So if a rear yard has to be 30 feet, we have 40 feet for the building itself. That's 70, plus another some type of front yard, and we need still access to drive. This is going to be very, very hard based upon just those very preliminary decisions to fit even again multifamily residential on this lot. And I'm open to discussion. So I'm opening it up there, and then because I could be wrong.
No, I'm sorry. I gave you a really tough one. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, can you give a physical visual on the breakdown as far as your calculation so everyone can follow what you?
You said a breakdown and calculate. What was it?
Of what you would process it because you were talking about the 30 feet rear yard and then the 40 feet uh, for the actual dwelling. And so they wanted to see some of the calculations that you were, what numbers were you pulling that from?
Gotcha. Okay. So I'll let me I'm gonna bring up Excel because then that'll probably be easiest to calculate.
And yeah, hey Q, Aubrey here. Even if I don't have the numbers to calculate, can you just even just do a breakdown of the units of everything you calculated? I think I missed the first half.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we did was we started with we did the area which was, I think it was 106. And then where we did the width, and then the length was, somebody remind me, maybe like 1706. And we got the width and the length from, we went to the GIS, and then we used the measure tool here to measure the width of the property line. It's actually 101. And then all the way to the end of the property line here, which was 1759. And that's why you get a survey, because then it'll give you the exact amount. But again, we're just doing initial analysis. And so that will give us the area, which is, of course, and again, this is not exact. We just starting off. That gives the area. And then because we looked back in the municipal code. So this is the City of Gary municipal code right here. And it's letting us know that the maximum building coverage is 40% of the lot size. And then, so that means, and I'll slide this over so you can see both. So we know the maximum that, like, if everything is on one floor, then it's going to equal 40% times. So that's how we got to like the 71,000 or so. And then also the minimum lot size is, it only could be 1,200 per dwelling unit. So if we like went through and said, if we go through and say that it's just based on the lot size and the dwelling unit, then we'll go with 1,200, because it's the amount of dwelling units here. So it's units. So then we will go the available, the maximum building is at 71,000, and then times divided by 1,200. And that's how we got to the 60 some odd units. I think we were at 62 before. And again, this can change, because you can maybe build it higher, and or multiple stories to minimize the maximum building coverage on the first lot, but it's at least giving us like a baseline of what we can use. So that's how we got to the 60 units. And then when you present, and the reason you're doing this early on as a developer is because you still have to take this information to the architect. They'll do the deep dive into all of these, but you at least want to see, first off, is it at least feasible to move forward with this project or not? So if we could get 60 units in this, because I'm always the type of person that's still going to try to still figure it out. Let's see what it's saying about parking, because we said that was going to be one of the big things. It says must be located on the same lot as a dwelling, so that should be easy. One parking space must be provided for each dwelling unit. And then it says see parking chart for non-residential units. So we would at least have 60 parking spaces here. And then we're saying again, we're really tight for space. So how do we fit these on this plot? So that's when you start thinking about what type of designs you want to utilize. What does that look like to make it make sense? So I'm gonna pull up a design that potentially, again, this is very potential, could work on a site like this to still make the project work. And I'm just making sure I can find it. And I would share, this is, I'm just showing you the screen to see. Make sure as you're going through your development journey that you keep all of your documentation. So this file has been started working on in 2021. And so throughout each of the different, looking at modular homes, all these different type of ways on building out the project, you just keep working on it. And so keep everything that you have because it may come back on another project one day. And I'm trying to find the exact one, but uh in this one you probably gonna want something that's a little taller in height because you don't have a lot of uh room to move on. And that's what I would suggest. Your pushback is going to be that you're going to need area to you're going to need area for driving and turning around. And the other thing that you have to think about for for an area like this is that you have to have access for a fire truck to be able to access each unit and turn around somewhere in that space. And so that's going to limit some of your space as well. But what we usually do is go to SketchUp because then you can model out what this may look like in real time. Are you able to see the screen? So
Yep.
SketchUp allows you to build structures. So in here, I'm just gonna recreate the same plot of land that we have. So we said is, oh, and for whatever reason, it's not allowing me to do so. My apologies on that. I don't know why it's not working properly, but I'll bring up uh, another one. And when you're just getting started, then the more tools you can learn and you utilize yourself to save money, you know, it's very important. And I had to use this to build out a full proposal one time for a city, and it did get approved. So this is approximately the property, the amount of land that we have. And so this would just allow you to, if you say, you know, we need to say on both sides 75 feet setbacks, you can type in all of those things here. And then we have on this side, We know that we're gonna need a portion for a turnaround for the fire truck, so just set another 200 feet here or so. And then if we said we're gonna give them some type of front lawn of, say, 10 feet or so. And then we said we're gonna go about 40 feet deep for the property itself. So now we can say, okay, how much space do we have left just to give us rough? So he still got, quite a bit of space. So if we say we did some decent single families, so we can count it out 20 feet, and then we leave 10 feet in between them. So then we do another 20. And then what you could do from here is, again, this is super preliminary, it takes a lot longer, but you can start to just model out what they call a blocking diagram first on what this look like. So say it was 2 stories, you had 24 feet, and then say this one is 24 feet. So then you can start to get, okay, how would this look? How is this gonna function? Are you gonna put like a playground in the middle for amenity space, maybe a basketball court, something for the people that are living here to access a fitness room, community room, etc. And maybe that may go in the center of this, but it allows you to at least get an initial thought on how this looks. And then I will pull up one more just to give you like how it can go. So then like this is, you can build out like entire homes and those things, you know, utilizing it. Or another one that we've been working on is this is in Buffalo. So it allows you to build out the building that we're looking to acquire is this building right here. And then what we've been looking at is this is a parking structure. Like how do you build on this wall a skywalk that goes from here, from this building onto our building? Like what does that look like? So it just allows you to see, okay, what's that distance? What's the height, the width, the amount of materials that are going to be needed when you are planning? See what does that look like? So I'll pause there for a second just to get any questions or comments. And then if not, we'll move on to like surveys and CSMs. All right, so once you have at least a thought of what you want to build or want to do, then you're gonna have a survey that you'll need, and that'll allow for you to see where your property lines are, where utilities are ran, et cetera. And so I'm gonna pull up one of our recent surveys to show you kind of how it looks and what you should be looking for. Anybody have an idea of how much a survey may run you? If you want a single family house, we just start with single family house. No, nobody? So a survey is usually between 1,200 on a single family house. Yep. But then if you talking about like a commercial, it'll probably run you about 3,500, 4,000. The most I've paid for one is 12,000. No, actually 21,000. And then we had to get it redone. That was 12,000. So that was not fun. So this survey is for a property in Two Rivers. And one thing I do want to say to remember is uh, if you hire somebody to do a survey, make sure that you own the CAD files, or I wouldn't suggest you hire them, because if they own the CAD files, any changes, even if you send it to an architect, they can charge you extra for doing that because you don't own the files that you actually paid them to do. You have agreed to allow them to own the files. And so on the survey, it again outlines, as you can tell on here, the different lots that were there at one time, the old street that was there, vacated West Street. That also will tell you if you have, you can see like these spotted lines, which utilities are running under there. You see it says a 40 feet utility easement. That means you cannot build on top of that. So you have to look at their the amount of square footage, acreage, again, that's needed. You can see this one is from here on to, this is on the West Twin River that leads into Lake Michigan, but it's a floodplain because the water every so often gets high enough where it does come onto the land. And so you have to make sure that you're not building in that area because then you're risking your building being built there. It also shows an existing building here, and I can help to show what that looks like with this existing building, but easiest this way. So this portion, and it's not a square building, but you can see is an existing building that's here. Again, they built it over all of the lot lines, but it at least allows you to see where these are, and then where the dark black lines are where your property line is it's going. And so any disputes that come up, somebody built a fence on your property, they want to use your property for certain, you have to go back to the survey to be able to allow so. And then from the survey, you will find out thing called a CSM, which is a certified survey map. And so if you want to split your property into multiple properties, then it allows you to do so. We've had to do this if you want to use financing for different portions. If a portion may have some contamination and a portion doesn't, you may want to split it for that reasons. So it's numbers of reasons to do it, but that's also an additional charge on top of the survey to be able to split those parcels. All right, any questions so far? If not, I'm gonna take you through, after you had the survey, some of the architectural drawings to just to help you get through that portion. And so if not, let me open up. This is one we're working on now. We'll do Bucyrus. And so you want to get, after then you want to do and I'll just bring this up just really quick so you can see it. So after we got the title, after we got the survey for Bucyrus, we want to do a CSM and break the parcel that we owned up. So you can tell by the different colors, this is something that we did internally before we sent it to the surveyor to show them how we wanted each of the different parcels broken up. The reason we broke up these parcels into 4 different parcels is because we wanted the financing to be different. So we have low income housing tax credits on one portion, market rate on another, and another is commercial. This also allows us, if we want to sell a portion of it, the property, we can sell it without it being tied to the other portions of the property. So you want to get some type of schematic designs and they'll do something similar to this, which gives you an overview, of the site, where all the buildings are going. And this is like one that where easement is important. If I zoom into this portion where the apartment building was going, we had to move this apartment building from that lot to this lot because when we pulled title and we did a survey, but it didn't show that the city had an easement that went underneath the building. And so because we couldn't build on that easement, we had to move the whole building. Again, the building wasn't built, thank God, or that could have been a blow, but we did have the construction drawings done. We were able to just shift it, so we had to start redrawing. But it could have been where someone charged you $300,000 to do the drawings, and then you had to shift it. So that's there. Again, the parking, the city is requiring us to have roughly about 300 spots of parking for 177 units in this iteration of it. And so we had to show where all of the parking was on our site plan before we submit it to the city. Your unit mix. So including the parking, but how many units, what size are the units, what percentage are 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, etc. And make sure once you get this from the architect, you still need to check it over because we're all human and we all make mistakes. And so if you don't check it and you take it to the city, you don't want to get in front of the planning commission and them saying, that doesn't add up or this doesn't look right. So make sure once you get it from architect that you are checking it as well to move the projects forward. So you can see some of my changes that I did to it to make more 3 bedrooms. So the architects, they are trained and you want to let them do their professional work. But if you are the developer, remember you are paying for this. And if anything goes wrong, it is on you. And so you may have to fight someone to get something that you believe in because they may think otherwise. But again, you are paying for it. They work for you. Sometimes they, especially if you're emerging, they they do have more experience, but they want to push you to what they think, which sometimes you still are learning, so you need to go towards. But again, you are paying for it, so I would always rather pay for my own mistakes than somebody else's mistakes. That's just me. And then you want to look at them have some type of elevations. Most municipalities are going to want something like this to show what the buildings will look like after they are constructed. And then in this development, they want it to be very inclusive. So they want an art alley. And so we submitted some precedents what the art alley would look like. And then these are for the individual buildings themselves. The corporate building ended up becoming a school, which if you can, get a building and just convert it for a tenant, it's much easier and a lot more profitable than converting to multifamily. So in this building, we'll zoom in here. This is the new construction building. And what we did on this one is we put 3-bedroom units that are townhome styles, meaning they have their own entrances on the first floor. And this allows for, if you don't want to interact with other guests, you don't want to be on the elevator, you want your own, a little more privacy, it allows for that. And so these units are at a premium and cost than the remaining units. And so these were, in this scenario, market rate units. And then these were more elevations of how the new construction would look. We've changed it, since this time, but this is how it was originally planned to look. And these are the ones that the city like to see, that really sells the vision of the project. So to get something to this set, I'll say you're probably going to be in 72, depending on who it is, but from 30 to $100,000 or so to get it to like this part. Any questions? If not, got one more to show you to go to the next step, and then we'll wrap up from here. So after you get to that portion, then when you're going to the construction phase, then they're taking those same drawings that you approve. So make sure it's what you want. They take it into construction drawings. And so you'll have each of the buildings, and then you'll also have a civil set, which is the civil engineer is the for the exterior of the building. And so this set right here is all of the specifications of how to actually build the building, the setbacks, everything from the toilets to the plugs on the wall, lighting fixtures. So you're going to have this set, which is the drawings. The other thing that you want to make sure that you look into and have, again, this is the drawings, this is all good, this is cool, this is what's needed. And this is probably, just for this building is maybe what's 41 pages. The other thing that you want to always have is this project manual or the specifications. So this actually explains what's in the drawings. So remember, it's not just the drawings. You need to have this that explains what's in there. And this one is probably, well, this is just one building, and we have 4 of these. This is 300 pages of explaining each of the materials, how things are installed, how they are checked for each portion. So when the GC has this, then they give it to the portion to each of the subcontractors to build. So again, you have to make sure this comes with it, because if not, people would just build and then they'll be making assumptions that's not necessarily what you or the architect wanted. So once you have these, you submit it to the state approves or denies it or asks for changes. And then from there, you submit it back to the city for a construction permit, and then you can start construction and actually building the building, seeing that you have financing in those things. So the key things to remember: survey and civil engineer, do your own pre-planning before you take it to the architect. Once you take it to the architect, you will want some type of schematic design. From the schematic design, then they'll take it in the construction docs. From the construction docs, you submit, and then you can actually build on there. And remember to get the specifications, because that will give the narrative to what all the pictures illustrate. Questions or comments?
No questions, but this is helpful. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining today. Again, we apologize for the mix-up on the time. We are working on that, and we'll get it finalized today. And uh, anything else, always reach out. In the meantime, happy Saturday. Oh yeah, the last thing. Thank you, Malik, for the reminder. Uh, if you haven't already, make sure to start using Build Genius. And while we on here, while I got you in the last 30 seconds of this, the reason I say use it and you got to invest the time to get the return uh, is so this will, and I use it daily, but and we just ask them, AI is going to be in there in the next uh, probably week or so. They're working on that now, but all your projects can be in the in here. And then the one thing that it has helped me on thus far is, and it's been multiple, but the one is when you're working on these projects and you have multiple people in the project, it just helps keep everything. Hold on, let me refresh it. It helps keep everything in one place so that everybody is on the same page and can see it. And then as we working through it, especially like for invoices, adding all the invoices up. These are all the people, we had to pay. And when you go into closing for these deals, you have to have all of these invoices so that you can get paid back because you've paid these things out. So it allows you to add it right here in there, the contract. So then you can just print it out and you have everything in one place. So the other thing is, again, everybody that's on your team is in one place uh, as well. And then it just helps with, we adding in all our meeting notes to there as well on a weekly basis so that when the AI is in there now, and even now, if you want to search for Bucyrus or what was going on, you can find the information a lot more easily because we have so many different documents, leases, and those things. So you'll be able to search all of your leases and documents that you have in there to find out when does the lease run out for X tenant. It'll be in there. So again, as we are growing and scaling, we have to make sure that we are organized because if not, it'll be a train wreck and you'll be spending a lot of time doing unnecessary tasks. So thank you all. If you need free code for Build Genius, please contact us and we'll be able to provide that as well. But use it, use it, use it, use it. I can't see your information either, so don't think we can. It's built that we cannot do that. So, put the information that's needed in there and we'll, go from there. So happy Saturday. If you're in Milwaukee or in the Midwest, get outside because I know it just rained, but it's not gonna be too many good days. So